Hey there, everybody. I'm going to take us today through installing AegisFlow on a Base ComfyUI install versus using the Windows installer. The Windows installer is designed for people who just need to get up and going quickly and don't want to resolve a lot of the dependencies on their own. But there are lots of situations where a person might need to install this on a cloud, or perhaps they're using Linux or Mac and they need to install it just by running the workflows themselves and resolving those dependencies because they can't run the Windows installer or don't want to run the Windows installer for whatever reason. So hopefully the sound quality is okay. I'm running NVIDIA Broadcast to try to remove the sound of a 3D printer working furiously in the background. So my apologies if any of that sound bleeds through this morning. So here I've got a base ComfyUI installation. It's got nothing in it whatsoever. It's literally just unzipped. And if we go in and look, we can see that nothing is there. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and update ComfyUI because this install file was downloaded a couple of days ago. While it does that, I'm going to go ahead and pause, and that's going to be something I do throughout. Well, it's already finished, but that's something I'm going to do throughout this tutorial. When things take a while, obviously I'll be pausing the video so that you don't have to wait for disk I/O or download speeds. All right, 1 second. Let's go ahead and press enter to clear that. And now that we've updated that, I'm going to go off and I'm going to get the ComfyUI Manager, which is located here. If you search this term in Google, you will find Lieutenant Dr. Data's fabulous extension to ComfyUI. Really makes it overall even more usable than it already was. In order to download this, you're going to want to first install Git. If you have not, Git is a version control system. Once you've done that, you're going to get the script for it, and you're going to run this batch file, which will download everything and install the ComfyUI Manager. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that real quick off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've gone and I've downloaded this little batch file and placed it in the root of ComfyUI Portable. We're going to double click it and let it run, and it's going to go through, collect up a bunch of packages, and install it. And now we have the manager installed. So we can now run ComfyUI. And when ComfyUI is first installed, it is very fast, right? However, obviously, we're going to have some red nodes. So right now, quick note about how ComfyUI keeps track of workflows and such. It's done within the browser itself, not necessarily within the installation file. So this is actually trying to pull a workflow from a previous working installation because it's the last thing that I've loaded in ComfyUI. But of course, now we're using a new installation which has none of these dependencies. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this right now just to make it a little less crazy. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to load in a, let me come down here, load in a workflow for us. So give me 2 seconds. And I'm going to go ahead and drag in the classic 1.5 workflow. And bam, we're going to see a ton of missing dependencies. It's almost all red, and that's because, we're using third-party nodes for almost everything in here. In any case, go ahead and close this message here because luckily with the manager resolving most of these, in fact all but two, is really easy. So we're going to go here to the manager button, go to install missing custom nodes, and we're going to select one of these, and then we're going to click this up here to select all of them. We're going to click install, and then it's going to take about 5 minutes or so to install all of these things. So I'm going to go ahead and pause during that process. By the way, this is what it will look like while it's doing that in the command window. So just so that you get an idea for what you should be seeing. All right, and once it's finished, you're going to see this please restart button down here. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, say OK. And once it starts restarting, it's going to download a bunch of other things as well. So I'm going to pause while it takes care of that. And again, we're about 5 minutes into this process, so it's continuing to install things. All right, and the installations have more or less finished. It's going ahead and loading again, and it's going to restart. And we can see now that we have most, if not all, of the dependencies satisfied for on the node side at least. So we're going to go ahead and grab these last couple that the install manager can't find on their own. These are Mile High Styler and Artist Styler. These are only in the classic. The new Shima does not use these two stylers. Instead, it uses one large styler that replaces them and has the same, has all of their functions within them. So we're going to go over to the manager. We're going to click on Install Custom Nodes because it won't find them using the missing nodes. And we're going to first search for Mile, and that'll bring us right to this, and we'll click Install. And then we're going to search for Styler. Sorry, Styler. There we go. And the one we're looking for is this one, Azazia 104, ID number 219. We're going to go ahead and install that. And while we're at it, we're also going to install some things that I know that we're going to need later. So WLSH up here, search for that. Install WLSH nodes. You can search for Aegis. And we're going to install my nodes. And then we're going to go ahead and search for, I wonder if it'll just do UE nodes. Let's see. Oh, it does actually. Use everywhere nodes. In fact, I guess you could just search UE nodes and get both mine and theirs since I use that term as well. We're going to install use everywhere from Chris Gorange. Amazing node set. Uh, and at that, there are some dependencies for submodules. We'll resolve those later. For now, we're just going to go ahead and restart. And I'll pause as it takes care of these. All right, and so we're back, and all dependencies are satisfied on the node side. However, we're going to need to get some control nets. You can notice here that these are saying null. That's because I have no control nets. I have no checkpoints, right? I have no upscalers, right? So that is going to be the next hurdle to get over. Now, you can do a lot of these through the manager. So there is an install models section here. And in here, you're going to want to do searches for, say, control net if you want. And you can grab these T2I adapters and these various control nets and install all of these. This is a kind of laborious process, to be quite honest with you. If you have them already somewhere else, it is easier, far, far, far easier, to go into your ComfyUI directory models and move them over or use virtual linking or something along those lines to get these models satisfied. But in any case, I'm just going to copy them over to keep things simple. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be back with you in just a moment. While I'm waiting for some things to install into this directory, just go through this again. To make it easy. So control nets are one thing that you're going to need. You're going to want to do, some upscalers. You're definitely going to need this one, this Real Essergan X2, but you can grab all of them from here. And there are other upscalers that exist. So, you're going to want to do that as well. You're going to obviously going to need lots of models. throughout the course of using this software. And if you don't want to get all of them from the manager, because you can get quite a bit, you can get checkpoints from here, for instance, SDXL Turbo, et cetera, et cetera. Here's your XL refiners, your XL base, so you can get a lot of things from this manager. However, um, if you want something a little more specialized and you don't know where to go, Civit AI or civitai.com is one great place to go and check for things. If we go to the homepage here, a lot of anime chicks, almost always, because people like anime chicks, including me. So, but if that's not what you're into, for instance, this ridiculousness, then, maybe you can limit your searches to something more like this architectural one that I was looking up earlier. So the other place that I like to go is OpenArt. OpenArt's really cool because there's model training as well that you can do within their system. So in any case, these are two places that you can go to pick up more specialized models. And I just wanted to bring that up while we had a minute. All right, and so I've gone through and I've copied over a lot of my models that you will be downloading through the manager and other methods. But I've placed in some checkpoints. One note is that I arrange things by SD Stable Diffusion version type. So I keep my 1.5 models and my XL models separate. Right now I didn't load any XLs because we're not going to test XL. If one of them works, the other one works. Um, and then over here, I've also got some Clip Vision models that are in here. Those are for the IP adapter later. Control nets, ton of these. It's important to keep these separated as well, so that you don't accidentally try to use 1.5 control nets on an XL model and vice versa. You'll get a nasty red error if you do that. But it's easy to resolve. You just remember that you did that and fix it. Um, there's also some upscale models that have been added, right? And VAEs that have been added. You don't need all of those. I just put all of mine in there. Um, as well as finally some embeddings, and these are negative guidance primarily is what a lot of people use them for, although here I'm also using this Cherry Nobody, which is a really nice guidance model that produces a redhead chick. So anyway, with that, there's going to be one other thing that we need to do in order to satisfy all the dependencies here, and that is our inputs. So this black box right here, if I was to run this right now, well, in addition to the fact that I haven't refreshed it so it doesn't know that I've fulfilled these dependencies, we would get an error that says that this image is missing. So I'm going to go and grab this file here, place in your Comfy UI input folder. I'm going to go ahead and rename that right now because I doubled up the O in that file. But anyway, this is a zip file that contains, show you these images, and these images are used throughout the workflow, workflows really. So I'm going to go into my ComfyUI directory and then go to input. I'm going to paste them, and I'm going to skip the example. There we go. And so now those are in there. And if I refresh this page now, those dependencies are now going to be satisfied. And if we come in here and we look, we can see it's now finding, our control net. It's now finding our model. It's going to find our upscale model, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So at this point, we should be set to generate. I'm going to go ahead and do that. When I do that, this is going to start loading a few things. It may have to load the preprocessor models, which are over here, but it'll do that automatically if it needs them. And then it will build a control net image, which it will then use to um, basically generate our image using this AniMerge model today. We're not going to care too much right now about what the image comes out looking like because we're not doing really much in the way of prompt guidance or anything. We're just using some default goofiness. So I'll start that process off and be right back once the models have loaded. And here you can see it's downloading from Hugging Face some of the preprocessors. It has gotten the preprocessors and now it's loaded the control net. Currently it's using Canny. I'm actually going to switch this over to line art anime because it's really not a Canny image. And so we may see some odd results. It'll still probably turn out okay. Um, it's not as though we're trying to run an open pose control net, for instance, against, this image, but still. The way that it, by the way, while we're waiting for it here, the way that it got this image is that it took this image as an input, passed it over to this preprocessor stack, and then I have item number 2, normal line art selected, so it used that to create this image, right? And then this image is going to be used by this ControlNet model in order to make our final image or to guide our final image. Right now, it is loading the model, which takes a couple of minutes or so when you're first generating. After that, it's in VRAM, and you won't have to worry about that. It'll generate much faster. All right, and it is generating an image. Not a particularly great one, but that's okay, because, again, not really our focus today. We're just making sure that it's going to satisfy everything. So as it goes through here, it's going to have one more situation where it has to download some stuff. It's going to need some models here for the depth and normal maps, or normal and depth maps, to be precise. All right, and so now we are set. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and turn on the iterative upscaler and click Q prompt. And it's going to go through and do the iterative upscaling as well. All right, and it's running its process. We'll see what iterative upscale wants to do with this image. Again, the prompt is dumb simple. It's just like woman in white robe, watercolor background. There's like no attempt here to make anything exciting. All right, and so there it is. It's done some modifications to the eyes, we can see, et cetera, et cetera. So we now know that this is working, which is great because if this one is working, pretty much all of them are going to work. So now we're going to set it up so that we can load all of our workflows into the system and access them through this little load button without having to go each time to the file system. So uh, let me get that set up here. We're going to clear this workflow because we know it works now. And we're just going to make any old workflow, literally anything. We're just going to load image, right? And we are going to save that to the workflows as, doesn't matter, blarg, right? You'll notice that once we did that, over here, you now have a little drop-down arrow. And this is the result of the PYSSSSSSSS nodes. It's got like the worst name in the world, but the nodes that he makes are astonishingly good. So can't fault him too much. Um, when you do that first save, it will create this directory here, py5s's workflows, into which blarg was placed. Now, we don't care about this workflow, so we're going to delete it. But we are going to go ahead and grab our other workflows. 2 seconds here. And you can grab these from the installation directories extras folder, AegisFlow workflows, or if you download them, you can grab them all through this zip file here. Um, sorry, I'm going to go ahead and bring that back up. And I'm just going to copy these. And I'm going to paste them right into here. And there we go. Sorry about the beeping. I've got Discord in the background, so people are texting me. All right. Oh, that's weird. Must just be a refresh situation here. Oh, yep. For some reason, it just had not updated itself. All right. So now we have workflows in here. And if I go ahead and I push refresh on this button, I'll see that now I can load all of these workflows. So let's go ahead and go through those workflows one by one. First, we're going to load up faces, and we're going to see immediately that there is a missing node, and that is a face detector node. So we'll click close. We're going to go to the manager, install custom nodes, install. And I'll be right back after that's finished. Oh, there we go. Restart. We'll go ahead and click Q prompt and see if we've got any further dependencies with faces. And it looks like we're all good. I used Aniverse on this, so it had to reload the model, so I paused it while it was loading this instead of Animerge. But here we have turned her from a dour, sad girl into a slightly happier girl. So that one is working just fine. And let's go on. We'll clear. Just good practice. I like to clear it first. Don't know if it's really necessary. It's just like a habit I have. And we will go over to Mask FX and see if there's anything missing here. And there is Crop Image AS. This one can be found by the manager, so we'll go ahead and install missing custom nodes. This one's, as I remember it, a fairly quick one. Go ahead and restart. And once you've done it once, you know, the restart process is pretty fast. So it's not a huge issue. All right. And so here we should, oh, sorry. This is one thing that you'll notice that happens sometimes. It'll bring up the last workflow that was run versus the last one that is loaded. So it's bringing up faces again here. So we're going to go back and select Mask FX again. And now we can see that it is here and its dependencies have been satisfied as far as I can tell. So I'll click Q prompt and see how we're doing here. And looks like it's running as expected. So that one's good to go. Last but not least is the IP mix in the classic range. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And we're going to get two errors. IP adapter apply and model loader need to be satisfied. So go to the manager, install missing nodes, install the IP adapter plus nodes, which are super good. Go ahead and restart. And after the reboot, no errors. However, we are going to need a couple of things. One is you're going to want to go into your manager and find this file, this SD15 Lite. I just usually, if I need to grab it new, find it in the Lite or by clicking on Lite and go to install models. Sorry, clicking on install models and then typing in Lite up here and then installing it from here. I copied this earlier from another directory, so obviously not going to install it. And you will also have to go get the SD 1.5 PyTorch model. You can either do that from Hugging Face, I believe, or alternately, you can find it um, within the digital delivery models, Shima resources models. I believe it is under Clip Vision, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Yeah. So I have it loaded under 1.5 and also SDXL. They are not helpfully named. So anyway, that can be slightly annoying because it does make a difference. But they are locatable within this Clip Vision directory on my installation directory source that you can access if you're a customer. So we'll go back over here. And one thing to note is that the models for the IP adapter are not in the models directory. Now the Clip Vision are, but the actual IP adapter models go underneath this Comfy IP Adapter Plus under Custom Nodes, Comfy IP Adapter Plus models directory. And so I'm going to go copy those right now. And through the magic of pausing, now they're all there. For this, right now, to satisfy the dependency, you only need this one, but, you know, you will eventually need all of them probably, so just grab all the IP adapters from the manager install models section. And then we will go ahead and click Q prompt and see if we've satisfied everything. Seems to be going through the process. Looks like it's probably loading PyTorch up. Yep. And it's now producing our image. Combination of this input image as well as this control net image here as additional guidance. Um, and then mixing in elements of these images to create this image over here. Regardless, not a tutorial on the IP adapter workflow, just showing you that it functions. So let's go ahead and clear this and get way or make way for the Shima templates and show you how that works. So give me one moment. What we're going to do here to load the template versions is different than the way you load workflows. Workflows are loaded through the load menu here. Templates work by using the cut and paste functionality of your browser. And so the templates are actually stored in the browser. That means that you might have to do this procedure multiple times if you're using multiple browsers, or if you clear your browser history and the temporary files and stuff, they might go away. So it's a little odd. I don't know why it's done that way, but the people that did it are obviously very good programmers and very smart. So I'm sure there's a reason. Couple of caveats. When you save node templates, by the way, you cannot use groups. Groups won't come up. And so when I add these templates, you're going to see in a minute that I'm going to add them to groups manually because I can't save the grouping with the template node itself. So to do this, we're going to right click on the desktop. We're going to go to the node templates menu and manage, and you're going to see this menu. And then we're going to say import, and I am going to go over and find on my desktop, 2 seconds. under the workflows, this file here, Schema templates, right? And I'm just going to click open. This is underneath the extras directory, or you can download it directly from the Google Drive. Once I do that, this is going to take a second and it's going to go away. But the next time that we open this up, we're going to see a whole bunch of stuff, right? And these are the component parts that currently exist for Schema. More will be added over time. So let's build a really quick workflow to show you that it worked. We're going to go up here. We're going to right click, Node Templates, Commons, right click, Add to a group. And that's just for organizational purposes. Right click, Node Templates, add a loader, right click, add a group. Okay. Right click, Node Templates, add a sampler, add a group. So I've added a commons group of elements. This is just like common seed, common text variables, things like that. And I tend to load it in every Schema workflow because you generally will need it. Then down here, I have a 1.5 loader, which you can see is referenced here. You know, it's a loader, SD 1.5 loader, and this is an SD 1.5 sampler. And the reason for that is that they're slightly different. You know, SDXL and SD 1.5 work slightly differently, and so they need a little different setup here. If I right click and I click Show UE Links, we'll see the magic happening behind the scenes that auto wires these things up. And I'm going to check what model we're using here. We're using Aniverse at the moment. And so everything seems to be satisfied. We'll click Q prompt, and it's going through and it's already sampling for us. So this is working quite well. And just to finish up, to show you one more quick demonstration, I'm going to move all this over a little bit. I'm going to right click, Node Templates, add in a control net stack controls. That's going to go ahead and wire up. I'm going to right click and add some input sends. Add a group for that. That's going to wire up. And then finally, I'm going to add in the preprocessor stacks here. And that's going to wire up. I'll add that to a group, right? There we go. Last step here is that these two nodes are used to provide a latent image when you're not using control nets. So this is where you would define your latent size and whatnot if you were just doing a really super simple setup. But when you don't need them, delete those two red nodes. They wire up to the control net. Let's go ahead and give us a new seed over in the sampler, because right now I've selected to use a new seed instead of a common seed. Common seed here would be 0. New seed would be 1. And let's go ahead and click Q prompt and see what we get. And it is making us a new image. It's technically using this, but you can see that it doesn't look a lot like that. The reason for that is because over here in the prompt, I've asked for a portrait, so it's doing its best to give me a portrait. So let me just modify this slightly. All right, and click Q prompt again, and it should come out looking a lot like that other image now, which it does. That should be that. So anyway, that is the conclusion, really. Everything's satisfied. All the pieces will work at this point, or should work at this point, and you will be able to run both AegisFlow Classic and AegisFlow Schema going forward. And you know, I hope that that this was helpful. Sorry that it took a little while to do, but it's a fairly long process. So I really, really appreciate all your help. on this project, and all of the people on my Discord. Thank you so much for, being unwitting beta testers in the beginning here. This is obviously very early in the process, but the great news is that I think most of the major bugaboos that have been giving us problems have been resolved, and so now it's just a matter of making more and more cool templates to do more and more cool things, um, and having them auto wire into the Shima system. So once again, thank you again for all your support. Thank you for everything you guys do, and I hope that you guys are having a great holiday season. Talk to you soon.